Imran Khan is on the charge. He used to be a pace bowling all-rounder, but now he's a mystery spinner. His goal is clear though, to take the Pakistan Army's wicket. The Army is like that player who brings all the equipment. He owns the bat, the ball and the stumps. So if you take his wicket, it's game over. He'll just leave with all the equipment. The Pakistan Army is not a rookie batsman. They've been playing this game for 7 decades, so dismissing them will not be easy. So what does Imran Khan do? He tries to get the crowd involved. Maybe if the audience turns against them, the army will lose their focus. Who knows? Maybe even lose their wicket. So that's what Imran Khan is trying to do.
Let's talk about Imran Khan, the former cricket star turned prime minister at the center of a political storm in Pakistan. He was kicked out of office last year, is now facing more than 100 legal cases, and was briefly arrested in May. It led to huge protests and violence. Khan says he's the victim of a conspiracy to force him out of politics for good.
What is happening right now is not because of me.
People in Pakistan are really divided over Imran Khan. His supporters see him as the only hope for the country, while his opponents accuse him of spreading lies and fueling a toxic style of politics. So who is Imran Khan? Why is he so divisive? And why is politics in Pakistan in such chaos right now? First off, let's run through Imran Khan's backstory. In 1992, he led Pakistan to its first and only World Cup victory, and then retired from the sport. In the early 90s, he was hanging out with rock stars and royalty, and married a British aristocrat. But he was also getting into charity work, and raised money to open a cancer hospital in Lahore in memory of his late mother. In 1996, Imran Khan launched his own political party, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, which means Movement for Justice. He styled himself as an outsider on an anti-corruption mission, but his political career didn't really take off until 2011. That's when he held 2 rallies in Lahore and Karachi. Tens of thousands of people showed up. He was promising to bring a new kind of politics to Pakistan. And 7 years later, that message helped him get elected as prime minister. Now, until Khan came on the scene, Pakistani politics was dominated by 2 parties and 2 families. The Bhutto family, which is linked to the PPP, and the Sharif family linked to the PMLN. That's the party of the current prime minister, Shehbaz Sharif. For years, the 2 sides have been alternating in power, a pattern that Khan was determined to break. Now, there's another layer in Pakistan's politics that you need to know about, and that's the military. Since Pakistan's independence in 1947, there have been several military coups, and generals have ruled directly for 33 years in total. But when there's been a civilian government, the military still plays a big role behind the scenes. And it seems that was also the case for Imran Khan, that the military was pretty influential in his rise to power. And Khan actually sold himself as a candidate who could work with the military. They were seen as being on the same page, but it didn't. Here's what happened. So it's 2018, and Imran Khan's just been elected prime minister. It was actually a pretty contentious election, and his political opponents accused him of fraud. But Khan was popular, and for a lot of people, it felt like a fresh start. Remember, his big thing was tackling corruption, something he said was at the root of most of Pakistan's problems. So he went on a massive anti-corruption drive. Many politicians and government officials were arrested. Khan's supporters approved, but his critics said it was one-sided and that he was only targeting his political opponents, though Khan denies that. Another criticism was that Khan's approach created a kind of vindictive and divisive political atmosphere.
When he made compromise a bad word, you were all in with Khan or you were anti-Khan for whatever reason, that was the conversation.
Now, the economy was a big issue when Khan was prime minister. He inherited a lot of problems, including a major debt crisis, and he had to deal with COVID too. Now, it's hard to know exactly how Khan's relationship with the military broke down because this is behind-the-scenes kind of stuff. But strains developed after a couple of years with Khan as prime minister. It seems the military wasn't happy about the way things were looking. The economy was in bad shape. And on foreign policy, Khan seemed to be going his own way with a more anti-Western approach. There was a reported disagreement, too, over the intelligence chief, who was supposed to leave his job after 3 years, as per military policy, but Khan wanted him to stay. By 2022, it seemed pretty clear that the military was pulling their support from Khan by standing back so the opposition parties could go after him. Those parties held a no-confidence vote in parliament, Khan lost, and Shehbaz Sharif replaced him as prime minister. So what's happened since then? Well, Imran Khan's been fighting back against what he says was a conspiracy to remove him from power. He's held huge rallies all across Pakistan. At one of them, he was shot in the leg, and he says it was an assassination attempt. Now, Khan's been calling for a general election, and under the constitution, that has to happen by October at the latest. But Khan says his opponents are using a mountain of legal cases, more than 100, to try to exclude him from running. They include all sorts of allegations, from corruption to terrorism, even attempt to murder. To his supporters, Imran Khan is the ultimate political victim. And everything that's happened in the last year or so has actually boosted his popularity. So Imran Khan is as popular as he's ever been. And disillusionment with the current government of Shehbaz Sharif probably has something to do with that. So while this brutal political fight is going on, there are so many other urgent problems stacking up. Check out our last explainer on why Arab countries are cozying up to Syria's President Bashar al-Assad. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode of Start Here. Let's talk about what's going on in Pakistan.
Now I request Mia Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif Sahab to please take the seat of the Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan.
There's a new Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, after Parliament kicked out the old one, Imran Khan. Khan was pushed out after he lost a no-confidence vote. He tried to block the vote by dissolving Parliament and calling an election, but the Supreme Court stopped him, saying it was unconstitutional.
Perhaps one of the most dramatic weeks in Pakistan's kind of recent.
Khan says there's been a foreign conspiracy to push him out. But many political analysts say there's another explanation much closer to home. So why did this all happen? And what does it mean for Pakistan? Here are 5 things you need to know. The first thing to know is that Pakistani politics is dominated by 2 political dynasties. There's the Bhutto family, which is linked to the Pakistan People's Party, the PPP. And then there's the Sharif family, who are associated with the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, the PMLN. Shehbaz Sharif, the new prime minister, is the younger brother of Nawaz Sharif, who was prime minister 3 times. And what just happened was that these 2 political rivals came together as part of a united coalition to kick out Imran Khan. And that brings us to the second thing you need to know. Imran Khan has styled himself as a political outsider, even though he's been in the game for a long time. He's the Oxford-educated cricket player who led Pakistan's national team to its first and only World Cup victory in 1992. Over the years, he got a lot of media attention for his glamorous social and personal life. After his cricketing career, he became involved in charity work and then politics. He set up his own party, the PTI, in 1996.
Khan has been around in Pakistan's politics for...
In 2018, he was elected prime minister, although his opponents accused him of fraud and interference. So those are some of the big political players. But there's another powerful force in Pakistani politics that you need to know about, and that's the military. Since Pakistan was founded in 1947, the military has ruled the country directly for about half that time. You might have heard of generals like Muhammad Zia-ul-Haq and Pervez Musharraf. But even when civilian leaders have been in power, the military has still been suspected of playing kingmaker. And the military, it seems, has also played a role in Imran Khan's rise and fall. And it seems there were a couple of big things the military wasn't happy about. First, Pakistan's economy has nosedived under Khan's watch. The country is struggling with high inflation, high unemployment, and its currency, the rupee, has hit record lows against the dollar. Secondly, there's foreign policy. And Khan's recent appearances at the Beijing Olympics and with Russia's president on the day he launched the war in Ukraine have helped to reinforce the idea that Khan was going his own way on foreign policy, a direction the military didn't like. Now, Khan says the whole thing is a foreign conspiracy, and that his removal from office was orchestrated by the Americans, although he hasn't provided any proof. Still, it's a message that plays well with his supporters. So the next thing to know is a bit more about the new Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif. Remember, he's from one of the big political families and he leads the PMLN party. Sharif was the chief minister of Punjab 3 times. It's the province with the biggest population and biggest economy. It's where he earned his reputation as an effective administrator, someone who gets things done. In Punjab, he worked closely with China on some huge but controversial infrastructure projects, like the Lahore Metro. The Sharif family has also been linked to a bunch of corruption scandals. In 2020, Shehbaz Sharif and his sons were charged in a money laundering case that's still being fought. He denies he's done anything wrong. His brother, Nawaz, a former prime minister, was sentenced to 10 years for corruption after some of his financial dealings were leaked in the 2016 Panama Papers investigation. But Nawaz hasn't served any time. He was allowed to travel to London on medical grounds and hasn't returned to Pakistan. He says the charges were politically motivated. And now, as Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif is under pressure to prove that. Which takes us to the last thing you need to know, that the Pakistani people are going to get a say in all of this, because a general election is coming up. The big question is, when will Pakistanis get to vote? Parliament's 5-year term ends in August 2023, which means elections have to take place by October 12th next year. But Sharif could call them sooner. He has to balance the need to show progress with the risk that the longer he's in the job, the more likely it is he'll get the blame if things don't improve, especially when it comes to the economy. If there is a news story or a topic you're confused about and want us to explain, leave us a comment. And make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss our next episode. See you next week.